Welcome to this quiet space, a place where the edges of the day begin to soften, and the restless noise of the waking world fades into a gentle, rhythmic whisper. Close your eyes and allow your breathing to settle into a slow, steady cadence. Breathing in the cool, calm air of the night and releasing any tension you may have carried with you today. There is nowhere else you need to be, nothing else you need to do. Just rest and listen. Tonight, we are going to journey into a modern enigma, a story that feels as though it belongs to a different era, yet unfolded in the glowing light of our digital age. It is a tale of grand illusions, of glittering promises, and of a woman who stepped out of the spotlight and into the absolute unknown. We are going to explore the quiet, chilling mystery of Ruja Ignatova, the woman the world came to know as the crypto queen. In our modern world, we leave traces of ourselves everywhere we go. Our lives are mapped by glowing screens, satellite signals, and the silent hum of data passing through the atmosphere. To truly disappear, to step off the edges of the map and leave no footprints behind, seems almost impossible. It requires a quiet, deliberate unraveling of one's own existence, a fading away that is both mesmerizing and deeply haunting. Let us travel back a few years, to a time when the world was captivated by the invisible magic of digital gold. The air was thick with the promise of unseen wealth, floating through the ether of the internet. In the grand ballrooms of London, Dubai, and Macau, the chandeliers cast a warm, golden light over seas of expectant faces, all turned toward the stage, all waiting for a glimpse of the future. And there she was, Ruja Ignatova. She did not move like someone who dealt in the cold, hard logic of computer code. She moved with the grace and theatricality of a sovereign. Draped in sweeping gowns of deep crimson and midnight blue silk, adorned with cascading diamonds that caught the light with every subtle movement. She was a vision of absolute certainty. Her voice, calm, melodic, and endlessly persuasive, washed over the crowds like a soothing tide. She spoke of a new world, a world where power was returned to the people through a revolutionary digital currency. She called it OneCoin. As you listen, imagine the soft, rhythmic hum of thousands of voices murmuring in agreement, the collective exhale of people who believed they had finally found a guiding light. She painted a picture of a future so bright, so perfectly constructed, that it felt almost tangible, even though it was built entirely on the invisible architecture of belief. Belief is a powerful, quiet force. It does not need solid ground to take root. It only needs the fertile soil of hope. And Ruja provided that hope in abundance. Picture the quiet nights in homes across the globe, from sleepy villages to bustling city apartments, where individuals sat in the dim, blue glow of their computer screens. The house is silent. The rest of the family is asleep, and in that tranquil solitude, they watched their digital accounts grow, numbers climbing ever higher on a glowing screen. It felt like magic, a quiet, peaceful prosperity that required only their faith in the crypto queen. The servers in distant lands hummed their steady, mechanical lullaby, maintaining the illusion, keeping the dream suspended in the digital air. But illusions, no matter how beautifully they are woven, are as fragile as morning mist. When the sun rises and the air warms, the mist begins to thin, revealing the stark, solid shapes of the landscape beneath. For months, perhaps even years, the mist surrounding OneCoin held strong. Ruja traveled the world in a cocoon of extraordinary luxury. Imagine the quiet, hushed interiors of private jets soaring above the clouds. The soft leather seats, the faint clinking of crystal glasses. The world below reduced to a patchwork of silent, sleeping cities. She existed in a realm elevated above the ordinary, a place where the air is thin and the silence is absolute. Yet, beneath the glittering surface, the waters were beginning to stir. The invisible ledger of truth, which cannot be rewritten by charm or velvet dresses, was slowly coming to light. Investigators in quiet, brightly lit offices were tracing the digital threads, following the faint digital echoes that OneCoin left in its wake. They sat in the stillness of the night, sifting through mountains of data, the soft clicking of keyboards the only sound in the room, slowly uncovering a vast, empty space where a financial empire should have been. As the gentle pressure of reality began to close in around her, Ruja remained remarkably composed. She did not panic. She did not raise her voice. Instead, she began to prepare for the ultimate magic trick, the act of vanishing into thin air. Think of the quiet moments she must have spent in her luxurious apartments, surrounded by priceless art and sweeping views of the city skyline, the city lights twinkling like distant stars through the floor-to-ceiling windows. In the profound stillness of the night, knowing that the grand illusion was nearing its final act, what thoughts drifted through her mind? Did she feel the heavy weight of the millions of dreams she carried? Or did she feel a strange, weightless anticipation of the void she was about to enter? The transition from omnipresence to absence is not a sudden crash, but a slow, quiet fade. It is the sound of footsteps walking down a long, carpeted hallway, growing fainter and fainter until there is only silence. It is the closing of a door, the turning of a lock, the gentle rustle of a coat being slipped on in the shadows of the early morning. In the autumn of 2017, as the leaves began to turn golden and drift slowly to the ground, the air grew crisp, carrying the quiet promise of winter. It was during this gentle turning of the seasons that Ruja Ignatova made her final, visible movements. The glittering stages were left behind, the velvet gowns packed away. The noise of the crowds faded into a distant, muted hum. We follow her now to the quiet atmosphere of an airport terminal, not the bustling, chaotic airports of our daily lives, but the insulated, hushed world of VIP departures. The soft murmur of voices, the gentle whir of luggage wheels on polished floors. She boards a flight from Sofia to Athens, a short journey across the dark, ancient waters of the Mediterranean. As the plane ascends into the night sky, leaving the glowing lights of Bulgaria behind, she becomes suspended between two worlds. The life she built, which is slowly crumbling into dust, and the vast, unknown shadow that awaits her. The drone of the airplane engines provides a steady, hypnotic vibration, carrying her further and further away from the name she made, and into the chilling, quiet mystery of her disappearance. The wheels of the aircraft kiss the runway in Athens, a gentle, grounding vibration that signals the end of a short journey and the beginning of an endless silence. The cabin doors open to the mild, salt-tinged air of the Grecian night. The autumn breeze carries the faint scent of the sea and the dry earth, wrapping around her as she descends the stairs to the dim tarmac. Athens, a city of ruins and whispers, a place that has guarded the secrets of empires for thousands of years, quietly welcomes one more into its ancient embrace. She steps into a waiting vehicle. The door closes with a soft, muffled thud, and the taillights slowly dissolve into the labyrinth of the sleeping city, blending with a river of anonymous travelers, never to be seen again. In our modern, hyper-connected world, it is almost impossible to truly vanish. We are tethered to the grid by invisible threads, leaving a continuous trail of digital breadcrumbs wherever we wander. The soft, musical ping of a credit card at a quiet cafe, the silent handshake of a mobile phone connecting to a distant tower, the watchful, unblinking glass eyes of security cameras that line our streets and hallways. We exist in a constant state of being recorded, measured, and observed. But for Ruja, all of these digital pulses simply ceased. The timeline of her life, once so vibrant and loud, flatlined into a profound and chilling quiet. It was as if she had stepped through a hidden door in the fabric of reality, pulling the handle shut behind her, leaving no trace, no echo, no shadow. Back in the world she left behind, the realization of her absence did not arrive like a sudden storm, but rather like the slow, creeping tide of a quiet sea. At first, there were only murmurs, gentle questions asked in hushed tones in the polished boardrooms of Sofia. The grand stages remained empty. The bright spotlights pointed at nothing but dust motes dancing in the heavy air. The devoted followers, who had hung on to her every promise, waited with a patient, hopeful stillness, believing she was simply resting, preparing for her next grand entrance. But as the autumn days grew shorter and the winter winds began to howl around the corners of the world, the hope slowly crystallized into a cold, undeniable truth. The queen had abandoned her court. We can imagine the physical spaces she left behind, monuments to a vanished life, sitting in absolute stillness. In the heart of London, a sprawling penthouse sits locked and dark. The heavy velvet curtains are drawn against the gray sky. Inside, the air is perfectly still, preserving the room like a museum exhibit. Expensive artwork gazes out over empty, silent rooms. The plush carpets, which once absorbed the hurried footsteps of important guests, now only know the soft, weightless settling of dust. In Dubai, opulent apartments overlooking the glittering skyline wait for a key that will never turn in the lock. The quiet ticking of grand clocks echoes down empty marble hallways, measuring out hours, days, and years for an owner who is entirely lost to time. These spaces are filled with the heavy, melancholic atmosphere of sudden abandonment. As the silence stretched on, the quiet gears of international law enforcement began to turn. Not with the dramatic sirens and flashing lights of a chase, but with the slow, methodical patience of a puzzle being assembled in a dim room. Investigators sit in hushed offices, illuminated only by the soft, blue glow of computer screens. The gentle clicking of keyboards and the turning of paper pages are the only sounds. They cast their nets across the vast oceans of global data, searching for a single ripple, a whisper, a momentary lapse in the darkness. They trace invisible lines across maps, following the ghosts of bank transfers and the quiet whispers of informants. But every path they follow seems to dissipate like morning mist over a calm lake, leading only back to the quiet tarmac in Athens. Where does one go when they have all the resources in the world and nowhere to call home? The theories drift through the air like leaves on the wind, each one painting a different picture of her hidden existence. Some say she took to the water, seeking refuge on the endless, dark expanse of the Mediterranean or the Aegean Sea. Picture a pristine, white yacht gently rocking on the slow swells of the ocean, far away from the prying eyes of the world. The only sounds are the rhythmic lapping of water against the hull and the soft hum of the wind through the rigging. At night, the sea becomes a mirror for 1,000,000 cold stars. A vast, isolated world where a person could float forever, completely untethered from the consequences of the land, enveloped in the hypnotic, swaying rhythm of the tides. Others whisper that she is hidden in plain sight, swallowed by the bustling anonymity of a massive metropolis. Perhaps she walks the crowded streets of a distant city, her face altered by the quiet, precise work of surgeons, her identity replaced by a pristine set of forged documents. She could be the elegant woman sipping tea in a quiet corner of a busy cafe, listening to the rain tap gently against the window pane, watching the world pass by without a second glance. It is a strange, solitary existence to be a ghost among the living, to carry the heavy, crushing weight of a global secret while buying fresh fruit at a local market, or walking down a quiet park path as the autumn leaves fall once again. The contrast is deeply chilling. The financial world she helped to disrupt continues to spin, loud, frenetic, and endlessly chaotic. The digital ledgers of the world process millions of transactions a second, a constant, buzzing hive of human ambition. Yet, at the center of this noise, there is a Ruja-shaped void, a pocket of absolute silence. Her disappearance forces us to confront the unsettling fragility of identity. How easily the self can be erased. How a person who stood in front of thousands, bathed in light and adulation, can simply dissolve into the shadows, leaving behind nothing but a name and a mystery that grows colder with every passing season. As the years begin to drift by, the snows of winter fall over Europe, blanketing the streets of Sofia and the ruins of Athens in a soft, muffling white. The snow covers the tracks, freezes the remaining evidence, and deepens the profound quiet of her absence. The trail, once carrying the faint warmth of her final steps, those completely, entirely cold, leaving investigators and the world to stare into the vast, snowy expanse, wondering what lies beneath the pristine, untouched surface. The snow continues to fall, drifting down through the quiet night air, settling softly upon the rooftops of cities where she once walked. Each flake is a tiny, fragile crystalline structure, unique and fleeting, much like the digital empires built on promises and air. As the frost thickens on the window panes of the world, the memory of the crypto queen begins to shift, transforming from a sharp, urgent reality into the soft, blurred edges of a modern myth. The frantic searches, the loud demands for answers, all are gently muffled by the deep, heavy blanket of time and the quiet, relentless accumulation of the years. There is a strange, peaceful comfort to be found in the unsolved. We spend our waking hours seeking certainty, demanding the edges of our reality be drawn in thick, unmistakable lines. Yet, the story of Ruja Ignatova reminds us that some lines are destined to fade, to be washed away by the tides or covered by the drifting snows. Her absence becomes a space for gentle reflection, a silent monument to the impermanence of human ambition. All the gold, all the digital wealth, all the adoration of roaring crowds, none of it could anchor her to the world forever. It all simply evaporated, leaving only the quiet whisper of the wind through empty auditoriums and the soft rustle of leaves in abandoned courtyards. Deep within the hidden servers of the world, the ghost of her creation may still pulse, faint strings of code glowing in the dark. But out here, in the physical world, nature quietly reclaims the narrative. The rain falls over the Mediterranean, washing over the decks of yachts swaying gently in the harbor. The deep, dark waters of the ocean hold their secrets close, moving in a slow, rhythmic breath that cares nothing for human schemes or lost fortunes. The waves roll in and the waves roll out, smoothing the sands of the shore, erasing the footprints of all who have passed before, washing the slate perfectly, entirely clean. Perhaps she is out there, sitting quietly on a distant balcony, watching the sun dip below a foreign horizon, wrapped in a new name and a tranquil new life. Or perhaps she has simply become a part of the earth, a shadow returning to the quiet dark from which we all eventually emerge. The truth, whatever it may be, rests peacefully out of our reach, and in this realization, we can find a profound sense of release. We do not need to solve the puzzle. We do not need to turn over every stone or pierce the veil of the night. We can simply let the mystery be, allowing it to float away into the vast, starry expanse of the unknown. As the story of the missing queen slowly drifts into the dusty archives of time, let your own mind begin to drift with it. The complexities of your day, the ledgers of your own life, the endless transactions of thought and worry, all of it can be gently set aside. The world will continue to spin without your vigilance, the snow will continue to fall, and the ocean will continue its ancient, soothing rhythm. You are safe here, in the quiet stillness of the present moment, where no mysteries need solving, and no questions demand answers. Imagine the quiet places of the world tonight, the empty forests where the moonlight filters through the branches, casting long, peaceful shadows on the soft moss of the forest floor. The silent deserts where the cool night air settles over the dunes, undisturbed by the passage of time. The dark, tranquil depths of the sea, where all is weightless and calm. Ruja's story is just a single drop in this vast, infinite ocean of existence. A tiny ripple that slowly, gently fades until the surface is entirely smooth once more. Feel the tension releasing from your shoulders, sinking down into the earth beneath you. Let the quietness of the unsolved mystery wrap around you like a soft, warm blanket. In a world that so often demands to be known, there is a deep, restful beauty in the unknowable. It gives the mind permission to rest, to stop searching, to surrender to the gentle pull of sleep. The trail has gone cold, but the cold is not harsh. It is the cool, refreshing touch of a winter evening, inviting you to close your eyes and turn inward, away from the noise, away from the light. The echoes of the missing queen grow fainter and fainter, dissolving into the ambient hum of the universe. Her name becomes just a sound, a soft exhalation of breath in the quiet dark, slipping away into the mists, leaving you in perfect, undisturbed peace. As the night deepens, let your breathing slow, matching the rhythmic, gentle pulse of the sleeping world. In and out, slow and steady. The mystery is resting now, and you can rest too. Drift away on the soft currents of the night, untethered from the waking world, floating in a space of pure, quiet tranquility. The story is over. The final page is turned. The book is gently closed and set upon the nightstand. All that remains is the comforting silence, the deep, restorative dark, and the peaceful, endless journey into dreams. Sleep now, embraced by the quiet, safe in the stillness, drifting, resting, and letting go.